America is the worst affected country in the world due to the pandemic. But despite that, Americans have come out in record numbers to cast their vote and exercise their franchise. Even before the election day, close to 100 million Americans had already cast their vote, and experts predict that the overall voter turnout this time would be the highest in America in close to a century. And as usual, there will be a certain key states that will define this election result. Now, we told you earlier that currently Biden enjoys around about a 30-point lead as far as electoral votes are concerned, at about 119 versus 91. It's a long race, but the focus will be on Florida. Current trends indicate that Donald Trump has a slight lead in Florida at about 51% to Biden's 48%. It's a neck-and-neck race. However, news from Texas isn't so good for the Republicans because Texas might be turning blue this time after a long gap of 44 years. But let's focus on Florida because many experts believe that Florida will decide who will take residence in the White House for the next 4 years. In fact, on your screens right now are visuals from the White House. Large number of people have gathered outside the White House in anticipation of the results. Donald Trump and his team are inside. They're monitoring the progress of election day from inside the White House. His team had planned a little celebration party on election day party in the White House. It remains to be seen how much they have to celebrate by the end of the day. But let's bring you updates about Florida. Now, polls closed in a key battleground state of Florida with 29 electoral votes at stake. Florida arguably has one of the highest electoral votes to offer. According to the recent trends, President Donald Trump is leading in this battleground state. Donald Trump has won Florida in the 2016 election, and a victory in the state is crucial to his chances for a second term. Polls showing a tight race is between Donald Trump and Joe Biden. Dozens of workers have started tallying ballots at a tabulation center in Riviera Beach, Florida. In addition to the election of an electorate, Floridians are also deciding whether to approve a constitutional amendment to raise the minimum wage to $15 an hour over the next 6 years. Meanwhile, dueling protests supporting each presidential candidates took place in Miami on Tuesday as well. Republican President Donald Trump and Democratic challenger Joe Biden have campaigned heavily in Florida, each hoping to win the prized battleground state.
No hate, that's all y'all do. You gotta love people, bro. Peace and love for everyone, bro.
How does Trump hate us? I've never gotten that. He's done everything great for us.
Asesino, la baby!
Edison research polls suggest that President Donald Trump appears to have lost some support among white men this time round and among older people in Georgia and Virginia. And this might explain why he's currently trailing as far as the electoral votes are concerned in the race to 270. Remember, the two states are key parts of his voter base. While Trump is still winning the majority of those voters, some of them switched to supporting his Democratic presidential candidate, that is former Vice President Joe Biden. Opening of the U.S. economy was a focal point of Donald Trump's re-election campaign, even as infections continue to rise. Democrats say Trump is undeserving of a second term because of his handling of the pandemic.
I'm Chris Kahn, Reuters polling editor. There's still a lot to go tonight. A lot of states have not been called yet. We are seeing in the state of Florida, it's very, very close between Joe Biden and Donald Trump. Now, we know from the way that the state collects its mail-in ballots and the way, what we've seen in pre-election polls, that Democrats were going to be counted early. A much more Republican-leading part of the electorate was going to be counted late. So I got to say, it doesn't look that great for Joe Biden right now, although I must say, state has not been called yet. It's very, very close. We are also seeing some broad trends in the electorate, stuff that we were expecting to see, but we're seeing it really play out in real time in some of the key battleground states. we were expecting to see an erosion in support for Donald Trump among some groups that he had expected to come out for him. We're talking about whites without a college degree, older voters. We're seeing, for example, in Georgia, Trump is getting about 7 out of 10 among all whites. That's down from about 8 out of 10 4 years ago. He's also getting about 5 out of 10 whites with a college degree in Georgia. That's down from about 7 out of 10 4 years ago. So he's still doing, getting the majority of these groups, but just not as well as he did 4 years ago. We're seeing Trump getting about 6 out of 10 whites without a college degree in Virginia. That's down from 7 out of 10 4 years ago. And so we're seeing, in general, this is a group that Trump had expected to come out for him, and he's always been very popular with. But we were wondering ahead of the election how many of these folks were going to show up for him one more time. We're seeing that, at least in some of these states, they may not be showing up in force like he had been hoping for. One of the numbers that we're seeing right now from exit polls is Trump is getting about 5 out of 10 among Latinos in Florida. He's basically splitting the Latino vote with Joe Biden. That's much better than he did in 2016.